Number 26, the captain, hit or miss. 321, Admiral Packbar. Number 42, Walter Cation. Number 52, Boomerang. Number 9, Real Slim Skatey. And number 999, Easy Button.
And wearing the blue jerseys this evening, we have Houston Men's Roller Derby out of Houston, Texas. And we've got number 0, the Big O. 135, Sniper. 311, JJ Battles. 42, Sweet Feet. 440, Waya. 464, Grease Monkey. 501, Sergeant Psycho. Number 55, Astro Stash. 665, Impending Doom. 69, Star. And 713, Skidmark.
And if you've been with us all day, bless your heart. Me and Scarlett called the Houston game earlier against the Northmen. Houston fell to the Northmen. So this is their second game of today. They're hoping to turn that losing streak around and win one.
I love how your accent is coming out more and more as the day goes on, Johnny. Well, that's okay. We're announcing for two Southern teams, so it's okay if the draw
Absolutely.
peeks its head.
The Collision Roller Derby from North Carolina and surrounding area. It's kind of like a funnel league. They don't have enough people in North Carolina to have their own men's roller derby, so they recruit all the skaters from the surrounding areas that'll come play some roller derby.
Well, we can't play roller derby without our officials, so why don't we go ahead and name those? We've got Rex Blocker, Benoit, Neutron Scar, Supergirl, Ion Dat, Scotchy Scott, Gorham Browncoat, Rickenblocker,
Bruce Almighty, Mike Hammer, Robin You Blind, Cataclysm, Landon Flat, Nacho, and Locutus of Quad.
Locutus of Quad?
Locutus of Quad?
Locutus of Quad, yes.
Okay.
I'll go with that. And your head ref this evening is, of course, Bruce Almighty, who we gave a microphone lesson to a little while ago. So if there are official reviews, we will have the official word right from him. We won't have to guess.
And we won't have to go running out there either.
That's different.
That's a good thing.
So we've a little bit less than 2 minutes till we get this show on the road. And anybody that's watching us here on track 3 at Big O. Again, my name is Scarlett O'Hurtia.
I'm Johnny Pepper.
And we appreciate you tuning in this weekend to watch this wonderful tournament. 3 days of Derby is a whole lot. You just mentioned that this is Houston's second game of today, and both of these teams have busy schedules. Collision has had a little bit of time to rest. This is their first game of the day, is that right?
Absolutely.
So, as we are going through the last minute preparations, I'm curious to see how Houston modifies their lineup versus their first game, because I think they only brought 10 people. Is that correct?
They did.
So how do you think that's going to change things?
I think they're going to go with the same jammer rotations. They might change the blockers a little bit as they find out who pairs better against who. The Collision wanted me to shout out to the Raleigh Junior Rollers. They're at a tournament in Nashville. So Raleigh Junior Rollers, hello from the Big O in Eugene, Oregon.
Hello from the Big O. And our house announcers have started for the evening, and we are competing with another game going on in another track, as most games are here all weekend long. So if you hear the background chatter, that's us trying to recruit more people to come here to watch this men's game. And the skaters are now pleading, yes, please come support us.
Victoria and Denver are playing over on track 1.
They'll turn to that track, Johnny. Shut up. You're not supposed to give it away. Jeez.
I'm sorry. Stay on track 3 and watch this great MRDA mashup we got for you today on WFTDA.TV.
And you know what? I know you have announced a lot more men's derby than I have, but this weekend I've heard several people say, yeah, I don't have it. Like, it's a ton of men's derby. And I think it's equally spread, but we're just getting pushed into areas we don't typically go. So what are your thoughts in seeing how Houston has developed? This is their first tournament to go to. It's really only this will be like their third sanctioned bout?
Absolutely. And they've been a team for over a year, and I've watched them as they started.
Speaking of starting, we're going to start off the game right now. Jamming for Houston, that is
Sweet Feet.
I almost called him JJ Battles, but I stopped.
Sweet Feet with the orange wheels. He is up front. He's your lead jammer. Houston trying to play defense over in turn 2.
Boomerang jamming for Collision, but still stuck on that initial pass with Houston using that box formation to trap in the back, and we've got Collision blockers falling all over the place in the straightaway.
That was Brickhouse on the jammer takeout for the Collision. No pack is called. Pack comes together over on the back straightaway.
Grease Monkey actually slid under the 2 Collision blockers to break them up as they were doing a bit of a dance move.
Sweet Fit picks up 5 points on that pass.
We are 1 minute into the first jam of the game, and Sweet Feet takes a hard spill right in front of the announcer's table.
And decides that's enough and calls it off.
Yeah, I think I would too. Sweet Feet grabbing 7 points on that jam. Collision being held off. No points so far, but it is still anybody's game. As cliche as that sounds, I mean, it's true in no sport more than Derby, I don't think.
JJ Battles is going to wear the star for Houston. That's Walter Cation going to be jamming for Collision Roller Derby. Walter Cation finds a hole on the outside up front, exploits it. He is your lead jammer. JJ Battles trying to work his way through the pack. Forced outside, forced to recycle, does a little jump across the apex. He's out of the pack and now eligible to score. Walter Cation gets that pack through, puts 5 on the board and calls it off.
Smart move, get your points, call it off. When you see that next jammer creeping up to your pack, don't give them the opportunity to get your point. And this is another team an MRDA team that has both women and men playing on it.
Hit or Miss is going to don the star for the Collision. She's the captain. Sweet Feet's going to be jamming for Houston.
Hit or Miss swings to the outside and is shoved out of bounds by Sniper. And it looks like she's going to get a cutting the track penalty. Got to watch those feet whenever you're coming in and out. This is such a game of inches now in modern Derby.
Houston Roller Derby now in a power jam situation. Sweet Feet coming up against the last defense of the Collision.
No lead jammer declared yet. Sweet Feet still trying to make that initial pass through the pack. So Collision has officially burned over 30 seconds on Sweet Feet trying to get through this pack. Effective penalty burn. And Hit or Miss is on her feet in the penalty box. So nice job burning that entire penalty by the Collision.
Sure enough. If you don't score any points when you're in the penalty box, that is a good thing.
And
Hit or Miss working her way through the pack, getting shoved to the inside, forced to recycle.
Sweet Feet is declared lead jammer after over a minute of trying to make that initial pass. I'm curious to see how he's going to handle this scoring pass since Hit or Miss is right there. She has stashed the star and is trying to get through a rather braided pack at turn 1. It goes into the apex on those toe stops, finds some space on the inside, and gets a forearm penalty. So we're back to a power jam for Sweet Feet in Houston.
For the last 20 seconds of the jam anyway. Sweet Feet working against that pack, trying to get through. Looking for some help. Sniper out there trying to give them a little help. And Sweet Feet calls it off. 8-5 early in the game, 25 minutes left in the first half.
Looks like we're going to add 3 more to Houston's tally, total of 11. This has been a defensive game, Johnny.
It surely has. JJ Battles is going to wear the star for Houston men's.
And we have the captain for the Collision, Hit or Miss, in the penalty box. So this is a power start for JJ Battles, who is one of Houston's strongest jammers. Has a very agile movement about him, hops a lot, moves those feet very quick, and is one of those that will keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. And that relentlessness is usually the key to his success.
Relentlessness and the turn in circles against everybody. Getting those
like he did just now, eagle around the opposing blocker 999 easy button in order to get past, and he is your lead jammer.
Meanwhile, hit or miss out of the box and back into the action. Working hard against the back of that pack, anchored by a grease monkey skid mark and pending doom. JJ battles around on a scoring pass, gets knocked to the inside. Recycles, goes to the outside, gets knocked outside.
Nice follow through by Noam Chomsky from the collision. Just following JJ wherever he goes. Like a heat-seeking missile. We have a low block penalty being assessed on the collision blocker, whose number I can't see at the moment, but we'll get there. Looks like we got 5 points on that initial pass and 4 on a subsequent pass, so 9 points. Highest scoring jam so far for JJ Battles and the Houston Roughnecks.
Boomerang's going to wear the star for the collision. That's Sweet Feet going to be jamming for Houston men's. Sweet Feet gets up on his toe stops, tries to go on the outside, gets around. He is your lead jammer. Boomerang's got that star stash, playing a little defense, trying to keep Sweet Feet from reaching that pack.
It seems like he's able to match Sweet Feet's movement pretty exactly, and that's impressive because Sweet Feet is a quick guy.
Boomerang puts that star back on his helmet, and that jam comes to an end. I wanted to give out a shout to Astro Stash on that jammer takeout over there in turn 1.
Astro Stash, one of the newer players on the team, right?
Absolutely. This is his first game. Second game.
I was about to say,
he played earlier today.
The mustache is memorable. Like, that is an impressive mustache.
This is his first tournament and his second game.
Well, he's holding his own out there, not letting the nerves get the best of him for sure, and that is no small feat. Score remains 5 for the collision. Houston up to 24. Who's jamming, Johnny?
Walter Cation's jamming for the collision, and he's up front. He's your lead. I believe that is
100% for
Grease
him.
Monkey wearing the star for Houston men's. He is out of the pack and now on a scoring pass. Walter Cation's fighting in that wall of blue that is over there in turn 1.5. And that jam comes to a conclusion.
Turn 1.5. I like it. 0 points for Houston. Collision breaks their 3-jam scoreless streak by putting in another 4 points on the board, bringing them up to 9. Clear penalty box, except now that I've said something, someone will inevitably go.
Hit or miss, the captain's going to wear the star for the collision.
And that's JJ Battles jamming for Houston.
JJ Battles with the lateral move, starts to the outside, goes to the inside, got knocked to the inside.
Nice tripod in the center of the pack. That's a different formation than we typically see for the collision. And interesting to see how they were able to hold that and shift whenever Houston started to try and break it up on an offensive assist. Houston with the box formation at turn 1, holding back hit or miss. And that box formation being anchored by Big O, who is playing here at the Big O. We've killed
Big
it
O
already.
is playing at the Big O.
It's day 1, and we have already killed that joke. It's terrible.
Skid Mark's going to go to the bench.
The box?
The bench. The penalty bench.
bench.
It's a penalty bench.
Hey, look, JJ Battles is your lead jammer.
Probably helped by Skid Mark, who got sent to the penalty box.
All the kerfuffle surrounding that. Beautiful hit there by the pivot for collision number 1358, Brick House, the co-captain. just enough to distract Grease Monkey and get his jammer by. JJ calls it off after 4 points. We're heading into jam number 8. For those of you just now joining us, welcome to track 3 at Big O 2018 here in Eugene, Oregon. I'm Scarlett O'Hurtia.
I'm Johnny Pepper. We're calling this game between the Collision and Houston Men's. Houston Men's going to send Sweet Feet up to the line.
And it looks like that is number 52,
Boomerang. Boomerang with some quick feet. Tries to go the outside. Jumps up on that tripod of Houston in the front.
You know, it's interesting to see. So they're actually rather similarly built, and I wonder if that has anything to do with their similar skating strategy, or similar skating style, I should say. Boomerang seems to have a mastery of that skating style because he is now your lead jammer for the Collision.
Those fast feet often help those jammers get through the pack, especially when they able to stay balanced and make those turns.
Looks like 4 points for the Collision. They're now up to 13. Houston remains at 28.
Collision trying to chip away at that Houston lead. Walter Cation's going to be the jammer of record for the Collision Roller Derby. Grease Monkey's going to wear the star for Houston Men's. The whistle blows. Both jammers takes out. Walter Cation starts on the inside, goes to the outside.
Big O takes him out in the air to the infield.
Sure does. Walter Cation has to recycle all the way back to the back.
Grease Monkey dragging a foot on the inside, forced to recycle back to almost the pivot line. Big O forcing an even further recycle for Walter Cation back past the pivot line.
Impending doom, Astros stash, and the Big O anchoring that defense in the back.
And it looks like the Collision are sending number 9, Real Slim Skady, to the penalty box. So we have a 4-3 pack advantage for Houston. And the pack is speeding up like they are off to the races. Oh, Grease Monkey taking a hard hit from Brick House. And it was kind of right at the whistle. So I don't know if they're going to challenge it. But it did almost seem incidental. Just with my bias, I think they were just on a collision course. No pun intended.
The captain, hit or miss, is going to be wearing the star for the Collision. Sweet Feet's going to be jamming for Houston Men's. Sweet Feet jumps out, is declared lead, but then gets knocked to the outside. It's going to be forced to recycle into the back. Sweet Feet does recycle. Looks to go Bass. He's got one to beat. He keeps turning. He is out front now. Hit or miss. Out of the pack and now eligible to score. Sweet Feet's going to try to get through that pack one more time before he calls it off.
Sweet Feet telling his blockers to speed it up, but holy cow, the speed of this pack right now. The bad thing, so that's kind of a double-edged sword. Whenever you speed that pack up, your jammers can maybe, if they're quick enough, can find some spaces a little bit easier, but then you risk being able to keep up, and you can't really keep a solid formation very few teams, I should say, can keep a solid formation at that sprint pace or almost sprint pace.
That's why they try to slow down the pack most of the time. Walter Cation's going to be, no, that's Boomerang, going to be wearing the star for the Collision. JJ battles jammer record for Houston. No points on that jam as it gets called off really, really quick.
Who got called lead? I didn't even see that.
I did not see it all.
That was the fastest jam ever. I literally wrote down the numbers on my tracking sheet, and then it was over.
And then it got called off.
It was done. And I think the referees are like, hey, wait, what just happened?
Timeout called by Houston. This timeout brought to you by Hit This Derby Gear. Has everything you need to get rolling, from skates to protective gear. This unmatched service for all your derby needs. Before you hit the track, hit this. Also, the social media team is working feverishly all weekend to bring you the live tweets and Facebook coverage throughout the events here at the Big O in Eugene.
Use the hashtag Big O 2018, I believe, if you want to connect with us. And us announcer people are actually tracking Twitter for the hashtag #2 WFTDA, just like you do with any other big tournament. We would love to see some feedback, and I believe I've heard cries, nay requests for derby dogs and cats. Just 'cause.
'Cause we like derby dogs and cats.
Something I've actually really enjoyed about Oregon thus far is a very pet-friendly state.
Collision Roller Derby is going to send Walter Cation to wear the star for him. That's JJ Battle's going to be wearing the star for Houston Men's. Both jammers take off right after the whistle. JJ almost stepped over the line before the whistle blew.
Scrum start off the line, getting a little bit of braiding going on, and I think that's going to be a direction of gameplay. Nope, never mind. Oh, wait, no. Spoke too soon, sorry. Skid mark heading to the penalty box, but not for what I originally thought I saw.
Walter Cation is lead.
Nice little hop on the outside at turn 3. Understands that he is heading out of bounds, calls it right as JJ approached that pack. 3 points for the collision, and they are slowly but surely closing that gap. Boomerang now going to be jamming for the collision. For those of you watching the video at home, the collision are in the black with blue accents, and Houston is in the blue with black accents. It's interesting.
Sweet feet wearing the star for Houston Men, trying to get through that wall in the back of the pack.
Beautiful lateral movement.
Anchored by Brickhouse and the real Slim Skady, who just aged up from the junior program, playing in his first tournament with them.
Nice. I love it when I see juniors that have come up, and you can that makes sense because of his style out on the track. There's certain things that when you've been playing for a while, they just become second nature, versus when you learn as an adult, it's, I dare say, it might be a little less graceful.
You can tell the kids that have been skating forever.
Cataclysm indicating to us a grand slam for Boomerang on his first scoring pass.
Meanwhile, Sweet Feet getting knocked outside, forced to recycle all the way back.
So I'm waiting for Walter Cation and Sweet Feet to go toe-to-toe because they're both 42.
That would be the battle of the 42s.
Mm-hmm. 2 more points on that round for the collision. And oh my goodness, Johnny Pepper, we have a 3-point game thanks to that last jam by Boomerang, putting 12 points on the board. That is the collision's highest scoring jam thus far. And 31-34, Houston still in the lead, but Houston hasn't scored in a minute.
Well, they're hoping JJ Battle, who's going to put the star on for Houston Men's, can do something about it. Hit or miss, the captain's going to be jamming for the collision. Hit or miss, working against that pack, trying to get out, forced to the inside. Has to recycle all the way back.
And JJ Battle's out of that pack, wiping his face as if he maybe caught some incidental contact, but he is your lead jammer. And we have a blocker from the collision in the penalty box. So 4-3 pack advantage for Houston, and they are pulling back to turn 1 as JJ tries to weave his way through that pack and has to contend with 2 last collision blockers.
JJ got knocked to the inside. I think maybe he should have stayed up on his toe stops and keep pushing on that pack because they were almost out of the engagement zone and they would have had to let him pass.
Well, but what happens is, so JJ moves his feet really quickly, and the blockers usually can hold him off just by brute strength. However, one thing the collision blockers have figured out is with these super agile blockers, they're rotating, and then immediately the jammer kind of flips in a way that they didn't expect. So that's how you counteract that. It doesn't have to be a straightforward line.
Right, and forces them out of bounds.
5 points for JJ, widening Houston's lead, but we are still in anyone's game here. Houston at 39, Collision at 31. We have a timeout called by the Collision. Who is this timeout brought to us by,
This
Johnny?
timeout's brought to you by the WFTDA Continental Cups. They're going to produce the best in the region through a competitive bracket. This first year, the Continental Cup Series will be hosted in Kalamazoo, Michigan, Omaha, Nebraska, and Birmingham in the United Kingdom. For more information, go to WFTDA.com.
And the last game that I did was with Very Cherry, who is actually from Birmingham, and she was saying how excited she is to see the WFTDA really go international and to see its presence grow all over the world.
Roller derby is going to change the world.
Absolutely. I believe that.
I believe roller derby can change the world.
And out on the track, it looks like Waltercation is indicating something to his teammates. We have impending doom in the penalty box for Houston. Otherwise, empty box. 4-3 pack advantage for the Collision, as this is a very different starting position, Johnny.
It surely is. Sweet Feet going to wear the Star for Houston men's up against Waltercation.
It's 42 and 42.
It is indeed.
Called it. We're in jam number 15. 42 all on the jammer rotation.
Grease Monkey, the last line of defense for Houston.
That's a heck of a line to get through, though. Grease Monkey, another one of those really agile blockers that can block bigger than his size, if that makes sense. Waltercation gets through. He is your lead jammer for the Collision.
Sweet Feet still working to get through that pack. Gets knocked to the outside. Called for some kind of penalty. He goes to box. Waltercation out on a power jam.
Tripod was anchored by Houston, but then the Collision threw a offensive player in to break it up very effectively.
Impending Doom called for a direction penalty. She's going to go over to the penalty box.
Good penalty kill by Houston so far. Waltercation yet to get through on this scoring pass.
Impending Doom was a big reason playing that defense over there with Skidmark.
But if you look at that tag team of Grease Monkey and Skidmark up in the front, that is a heck of a line to contend with, and they're both pretty agile. It's hard to answer that sometimes if you're not an adaptable jammer.
That's a tough duo to skate by, I can tell you.
Yeah.
Boomerang, the one that put the Collision right back in. It's going to don the star for the Collision.
And it looks like we missed it, but 4 points were awarded to Waltercation on that last jam. So we have a 4-point game, 35-39. Houston in the lead. JJ battles, trying to get past a tripod in the back, but your lead jammer is Boomerang.
Boomerang caught Houston's defense napping and went around on the outside really fast.
So one thing I think that was a little bit different on that starting position is Houston actually tried to echo what the Collision were doing on their starting position, where they were centering that offensive assist, which oddly enough was Big O, so they put their O as O, to break up that tripod in the back. But for them, they're typically so defense heavy, they don't typically throw in offensive assists, so I think that may have thrown them off a little bit when it comes to keeping back the opposing jammer.
And I love offensive assists.
Yeah, they're not used as or I should say we like seeing them, but we know you can't do it every time.
Hit or miss, the captain's in there for the Collision. Sweet Feet's wearing the star for Houston.
And Johnny, we have a tie game.
We do have a tie game. Everybody take a drink. Hit or miss, looking to break through that tripod that's anchored by Sergeant Psycho and Skidmark and Big O and Impending Doom. And Sweet Feet jumps out front. He is your lead jam. Big O on the jammer takeout, trying to force that big recycle. Sweet Feet puts another 5 on the board.
This is the first time Houston has had lead jammer status in the last 6 jams.
That's why the Collision caught up.
Sweet Feet in control of the clock. Houston retakes the lead with 5 points on that pass. Waltercation still, I'm sorry, not Waltercation, Brick House. Not who we typically see jamming for the collision.
That was a star pass to Brick House.
That's why, because he didn't start there. Duh.
It started with hit or miss.
Oh, okay.
And then went to Brick House.
That's right. So lead jammer, Sweet Feet, full complement of blockers for both teams. And Sweet Feet being called out for a forearm penalty, so we're going to go the full 2 minutes. And I'm not going to lie, I think Sweet Feet is not upset about having a second to catch his breath.
He's not going to get it, though, because Brick House got called for a track cut. He's going to go.
JK, Brick House, JK.
Sweet Feet's going to rejoin the action on the track. But Brick House is going to be joining him just a few seconds later.
It's like a tease of a penalty.
Absolutely.
You're just going to...
He got to sit down, take 2 breaths, and then he's got to go back into it.
Sweet Feet does manage to get past Slim Skady in the front, grabs a grand slam, and Big O from Houston is calling an official review out in the center of the track. Who is this official review brought to us by, Johnny?
I want to say Hit This. Derby Gear has everything you need to get rolling, from skates to protective gear and unmatched service for all your derby needs. Before you hit the track, hit this.
I don't think I've ever seen this many people huddled up in the center for an official review. It's like all of the zebras are listening. Usually it's just the head ref who listens to the complaint, but everybody is there now. And I wonder if that's the new strategy, so you don't have to play telephone when you go back. Bustin Beaver, the bench coach / alternate for Houston, trying to plead her case to head ref Bruce Almighty. They do have a mic out in the center of the track, so hopefully Bruce will remember that's there.
So she can tell us what's going on, so we don't have to make anything up for you good people.
Well, speaking of what's going on, we somehow didn't point it out, but that was a 15-point jam.
It was.
For Sweet Feet and Houston, so they have widened that point spread a fair bit. Score is currently 54-41. Houston in the lead with 6 minutes remaining in the first half. We are heading into jam number 18 after this official review.
We want to thank all you viewers out there on WFTD8.tv. I am Johnny Pepper.
And I'm Scarlett O'Hurtia.
And we're so glad you're with us.
Happy Friday, everyone.
It is Friday.
It's Friday.
Man.
I don't know about you guys, but it's been a week.
It's been a long day today.
Well, we're just getting started. We have 3 days of amazing derby with all of these fantastic teams. 3 days of 3 tracks, juniors, men's, women's, and some fun stuff, too. The MVP bout's coming up on Sunday night.
I can't wait.
That's going to be a lot of fun. The referees were trying to... Okay, so it sounds like Houston was challenging the jammer penalty that had been assessed on their jammer, but the referees conferred that because there was a counter block with forearms that occurred, the no call will stand, and Houston loses their review for the half.
Waltercation is going to be the jammer record for the collision. JJ Battles is wearing the star for Houston men's. JJ Battles goes to the outside, looks right, skates left, gets knocked outside, is forced to recycle, but he is awarded lead jam status. One to beat, he does. He is out front. One of the collision blockers is going to the penalty box.
That looks like Noam Chomsky. And that last line of defense up in the front, held down by Matt Daddy. And JJ Battles grabs a grand slam on that first pass and then comes through with no resistance whatsoever. Nobody touched him.
That's 10 points already.
And that had to have been within the last, 20 seconds?
That was a fast lap.
And this one was too. Houston defense shutting it down, switching over to playing offense. Oh, pile up in turn 4. Star, skid mark, and about half of the pack going down. JJ gets shoved to the inside, calls it off before Waltercation. I'm making up names now, Johnny. Waltercation not looking like he's feeling super great.
He
Taking a knee on the side.
He took a big hit before he called it off there at the end. Before the jam was called off there at the end. Skidding on his knees for about 10 feet.
Sometimes it's fun to just slide, but that didn't look like I'm going to slide because it's fun.
Boom.
18 points for JJ Battles on that last jam. That is the highest scoring jam of the game thus far.
Yay, JJ. Grease Monkey's going to wear the star for Houston Men's. Boomerang's going to be the jammer record for the collision. Boomerang does have the highest jam for the collision, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, 12 points. Boomerang has the highest jam for the collision.
That's exactly what the collision needs right now. They need to start chipping away at that league before Houston just runs away with this game.
Well, and so we had 18 points on this last jam, courtesy of JJ Battles, that really widened that point spread. And Houston had a 15-point jam, courtesy of Sweet Feet, just the previous jam. So literally in the past 2 jams, we've seen that point spread double. So if Collision can do the same thing, it's still anybody's game. We've got about 5 minutes left in the first half. We are currently under a timeout. I believe it is an official timeout. Yes, it is. And we're going to see how these teams are able to shake things up here before the second half. I'm not sure what the officials are conferring about. I like to think it's something silly and fun, like what goes with black and white vertical stripes.
Candlesticks make a good gift.
I don't know about candlesticks. Candles, yes. But I don't know very many people that have candlestick holders anymore, unless it's a formal setting.
True that.
But, good Yankee candle. Why are we talking about candles, Johnny?
I was just quoting a movie.
That's great.
Grease Monkey, the jammer record for Houston Men's. Boomerang wearing the star for the collision.
Now, Grease Monkey not usually part of the normal rotation, but he is kind of that break for the other 2 or so jammers that are in Houston's normal rotation. Brickhouse with a nice attempt, but Grease Monkey with the spin move bounces right off of the Senator at turn 1 and grabs lead jammer status for Houston.
Boomerang off on that initial pass, comes around for a scoring pass, and Grease Monkey calls it off after he picks up
Wait
4
for
points.
it.
I don't see a thumb, so it's got to be 4.
4.5 minutes left. We're heading into jam number 20.
Sweet Feet going to be the jammer record for Houston Men's. The collision is going to send Slim Skady,
Yep.
who just joined from the junior program. And I believe this is his first jam in this game.
No, he's been out there one other time, I believe. Nope, I'm lying. This is his first time to jam. He was in the pack. Big O being sent to the penalty box. Slim Skady out of the pack, and ready to score points. But he is not the lead jammer. That honor belongs to none other than Sweet Feet.
And Sweet Feet's going to call it off after picking up the points on that pass.
Looks like 4 points are going to go to the collision and 4 points for Houston as well. So that one was a wash. But hey, keeping it even, better than widening that spread if you're in the collision's position currently.
5 seconds called on the floor. Waltercation will be the jammer record for the collision. That's JJ Battles wearing the star for Houston Men's. Waltercation tries to go to the outside. Comes back onto the inside. The Houston Walls holding strong. JJ Battles tries to go to the inside. Gets knocked to the infield.
Backward somersault. We had some sort of equipment lost on the track that a ref is currently holding. And Collision spreading out across that track to hold back JJ. JJ's having a slightly different technique here in this jam. Oh, and takes out a blocker in his wake.
He is on a scoring pass, but not the lead jammer. And the Collision calls it off before he can get around and score any points on that.
Less than 2.5 minutes left in the first half. Houston at 80. Collision at 49.
In what could be the last jam of this half.
I'm not going to hold my breath on that because they're not as short as the ones we had earlier today, but they're not a lot of 2-minute jams going on.
Sweet Feet's going to jam for Houston men's. That's Boomerang wearing the star for the Collision. Both jammers hit each other, and then Boomerang decides to go head off to the front and deal with that Houston wall that's up there. Anchored by Impending Doom and Skid Mark and the Big O.
Sweet Feet forced to recycle on the inside. Has to get past a few Collision blockers who are rather scattered at the moment. And they've been holding pretty solid defensive formations. Brickhouse trying to chase Sweet Feet, and Sweet Feet preventatively jumped in the anticipation of blocker coming at him. And we are off to the races, folks. The pack has sped up significantly. Grease Monkey with a nice hip check on Real Slim Skatey.
1 point awarded for the Collision on that pass.
Looks like we're going to get another jam out of this, Johnny.
That's why I said in what could be. And now again, what could be the last jam of the half? JJ Battle's going to wear the star for Houston men's. Slim Skatey's going to wear the star for the Collision.
Different starting positions here for the respective teams. Houston in a tripod with a floater in the front. Penalty box is clear, full complement of blockers. Collision choosing once again to anchor that tripod right in front of the jam line, and that doesn't seem to be working for them, but they keep going for that technique. Oh, beautiful apex jump and a hit. So JJ managed to barely get in, inbounds on the other side, but mid-air gets hit. Was that Brickhouse on that? No, he's on the bench.
And he bounced right back up and took those 5 points and made another lap and got another 5 points.
He looks like he might be in a little pain, though. That face was not one of joy. And we have a star pass.
That's hit or miss. Now the jammer record for the Collision. The Collision is going to ask for an official review. So before we can go to halftime, we're going to have this review and we'll find out what it is all about.
I think it's about the hokey pokey. That's what it's all about.
It is what it's all about. Brickhouse going over there to plead his case.
Looks like the refs are also using this opportunity to check to ensure the scoreboard is reflecting accurately. So score is currently 85-50, but it looks like there is some adjustment potentially happening. Collision calling that official review as the period clock had expired. So as soon as we know what's going on, we will be sure to let you know. And guys, we've got an entire weekend of some fantastic derby action of a few different skill levels here at Big O. So if you have not purchased your watch pass or you haven't convinced a friend to do so, you should.
You should buy a watch pass, call 2 friends, have them buy watch passes, and so on and so on.
And then you can all watch it independently at your own houses and talk about it on the phone or something.
On the Twitter.
Just text about it because we don't actually interact in person anymore. Or just have a big watch party. Go to a bar.
Use the hashtag #TalkToWFTDA.
But not anybody in person.
Right. The last time I saw that many zebras was at a watering hole.
Do you frequent watering holes that have zebras?
Every time I go on safari.
Now, Johnny, you and I are both fair-skinned, red-headed folks. I don't know how much safariing we're doing. Anyways, although I could say that some of these games that we see could be the equivalent of a safari.
The head referee's explaining to the captain from the collision what's happening now.
Hopefully she'll explain to us what's happening.
She's going to go over and pick up the microphone. I think we're going to get a decision.
Indeed we are.
Collision was reviewing the 5 points awarded on the initial pass, saying that the jammer did not successfully land the apex jump. We did observe that the foot did touch first before the jammer went down, so the points will stand. And collision loses their review.
So this...
The collisions was talking about that apex jump that he did, and they're saying that he didn't land it. Upon review, the referees decided that he did land it, and so the collision will lose their official review for that half, and we will go to halftime.
I'm just going to say, meh, because literally the period clock has expired. You got nothing to lose. Like, what do you gain from that? A few points get taken away?
Maybe a few extra minutes of rest, because that's exactly what they need.
Yeah, that's true. Has been a very physical game and has been a good game to watch. Been pretty close all along, but Houston just running away with a few double-digit jams here in the latter half of the first half. That last jam, 12 points, bringing Houston up to 92. Collision at 50. What are your thoughts on the first half, Johnny?
I am thinking that Houston's going to have to do more of the same. The collision is going to have to follow their script and play a little better defense.
I will say one thing that I kind of wish that the collision would consider, because Houston tried this and it didn't really work for them. There are certain strategies that tend to work for teams naturally because they're playing to their players' strengths. But sometimes you need to adapt that in order to respond to a jammer effectively. So, for example, there's that tripod with the one offensive player that has been consistently trying to infiltrate the tripod at the front. However, it's not causing enough destruction of that to allow their jammers to get through. So if they're going to do the offensive assistance, do it all the way.
Right.
And on the defensive side, Houston is a little more adaptable, but Collision can get there. They have the skills. They've got skaters that are agile. They can make those movements, but I think they just need time to come together.
We will find out when we come back from halftime in about 8 minutes.
I'm Scarlett Hurtia.
I'm Johnny Pepper, and we'll see y'all in 8 minutes.
To bring you the conclusion of our last game on track 3 of the evening, we're seeing the Houston Roughnecks take on the Carolina Collision. This is an MRDA game, and we have seen some back and forth throughout the game.
We sure have. Houston with some double-digit jams at the later part of the half, taking the lead right now.
That was really what put them ahead, because up until jam 14, actually I'll say jam 16, in that first half, all of the jams prior, with the exception of one from the collision, were single-digit jams. Then Houston just got 4 in a row that were not 4 in a row, but 2 in a row that were double-digit, and then scoring on the next one, and then the last jam of the half was a 12-point jam as well. So Houston just running away with some really big totals. One of the reasons is jammer penalties.
And penalties kill, and they're really going to show, I think, in this second half. Scarlett, who do we have in trouble on the collision side?
There's really only one player that's in trouble, meaning that they are getting close to fouling out. So we have one player with 5 penalties and two players with 3 penalties. Everyone else is at 2 or less. So that one player, though, hasn't been a jammer. That's the thing. So I'm trying to make a correlation here, but I'm not doing it very successfully. Look at this sportsmanship, sportspersonship happening out on the track. Lots of high fives as we head into the second half. There you go. Good. That's a good word. We'll run with that. Lots of forearms is what I'm mainly seeing in looking at the trackers that I hijacked from the officials.
5 seconds called on the floor. Boomerang's going to be the jammer of record for the collision, and the Big O is going to put the star on his head here at the Big O.
Not his normal position, but whenever he is in that role, he's typically pretty effective.
Big O gets knocked to the outside, but not before Boomerang makes his way through the pack and declared lead.
And Big O being sent to the penalty box.
For a forearm.
That was what we saw a lot of in the first half.
That's what you were trying to talk about.
Yeah, Boomerang just swung around the outside for a grand slam. Houston trying to speed up the pack. Grease Monkey getting shoved out of bounds and being forced to recycle. Boomerang narrowly dodges a hit from Grease Monkey there at turn 1. Grabs a grand slam after passing the entire pack, including Big O, who is in that big old penalty box. 10 points so far for Boomerang.
Houston tries to reset on defense around their turn 1. The collision playing defense up front. O is out of the box and back into the action.
Almost through on that initial pass to O, and we've got Boomerang boomeranging to the penalty box. So we're gonna switch things up here. O is now gonna take over on that power jam. He did serve his entire penalty, so Boomerang will likely have to do the same. The Grease Monkey trying to play some offensive assistance and clear a path for O, but it seems like Collision got wise to that strategy and just swarmed him.
Big O working against that pack, trying to get through with 2 to beat.
Noam Chomsky getting caught in the back of that Houston box, making him their GOAT. And last line of defense up in the front, Matt Daddy.
Collision does do a good job at bridging to make that engagement zone.
All right, Matt Daddy is now in the penalty box for his 6th penalty.
Ouch.
So he's going to have to be real careful. And I think a lot of his have been, there's a lot of forearms and then out of play. Both things that are very easy to do incidentally.
Well, when he comes out of that box next time, he's going to have to be careful.
Whoa, the tables turned on this jam, Johnny. Look at those point totals.
15 points for the collision. 97 points for Houston, 65 for the collision. 27 minutes left in this game. Waltercation's going to be jamming for the collision. Sweet Feet jamming for Houston in the battle of 42s. Take 2. Waltercation is awarded lead. Sweet Feet out of the pack and coming up fast on Waltercation. So Waltercation just goes ahead and calls it off.
I'm curious if they're going to stay out there because that was all of about 20 seconds. Yeah, it looks like they're going back to their benches. So sticking with the rotation. Just kidding. As soon as I said that, Sweet Feet was like, nah, I'm going to stay. So no points on that jam for either team. And I do believe Phil Dirt is singing on the microphone here at track 3.
The captain hit or miss is going to be jamming for the collision. Sweet Feet goes out there once again for Houston men's. Sweet Feet trying to follow hit or miss through that pack. Hit or miss working against that tripod up front that consists of Waya, Sniper.
Sweet Feet awarded lead jammer status, in control of that clock as hit or miss having to contend with impending doom. There's something rather ominous about that situation.
Impending doom knocking her to the outside. She's forced to recycle. She's looking for her pivot. She's got that star stashed in her hand. And that jam.
That was the other track that we heard the whistles on. A little confusing. We have a juniors game going on.
They're out there still skating, and I heard 4 whistles. So this jam does continue.
That was a nice air hop and skip. I don't know how to phrase that by Sweet Feet there. And we have a star pass on the collision.
Noam Chomsky, the new jammer record for the collision. I believe this is the first time he's wore the store today. Maybe once in the first half.
I don't have him on my record. Now, my record's not complete, but
thought that was the first time he had a star on his head, and I was right.
Houston passes the century mark, 104 to 65. 2 more points on that last pass.
Boomerang's going to wear the star for the collision. JJ Battles is going to jam for Houston Men's. JJ Battles with those fluorescent orange skates. You just can't miss.
And yet we somehow still flip him and Sweet Feet. Although in this game, I'm seeing more differentiation in their styles. And I don't know if it just comes with getting the jitters out that first game, but slightly different. And look at this, out of nowhere, presumably. Lead jammer goes to Boomerang.
Boomerang comes up on the pack. He's looking for some help. Brickhouse is going to lead him through. He picks up 5 points on that pass as JJ Battles goes to a box for a forearm penalty.
Now the only jam so far here, and now granted we're only in jam 4, but out of those, the collision have had lead jammer status 3 out of 4. And that seems to be controlling who gets those points.
That's the end of the jam on our track.
3 points on that last pass for Boomerang and the collision, who are slowly but surely making up those points. Total of 8 points on that last jam. Our score is now 104 to 73.
31 points separating these two teams.
You can math.
If I have enough time.
I'm not good with the math.
Walter Cation, the jammer record for the collision, the only one out there as the Houston Jammer starts in the box. Walter Cation out front getting pointed at. He is your lead. Meanwhile, JJ Battles out of the box and back into the action. JJ's looking for a little offensive help. Doesn't get it. Goes to the outside. He's got a wall to beat. Collision trying to refocus their defensive efforts, and it's just not enough. JJ gets around. He is eligible to score, and Walter Cation calls the jam off.
So this is one thing I'm not really getting at. But so when we talk about adaptable defense, that's not it. You have to stay together as a unit. Very seldom does that one-on-one blocking, especially with the jammer that's as agile as JJ and as tenacious as JJ. You've got to stay with your buddy. Take up that space, swallow him up, trap him in a box.
Teamwork makes the dream work. The Senator is going to be the jammer record for the collision. Grease Monkey's going to wear the star for Houston Men's. I believe this is the Senator's first gem opportunity in this game.
I feel like I may have said his name before, but it may have just been as a blocker. Yep, that's what it's looking like. Never mind. But it doesn't really matter because Grease Monkey decided he was going to run away with lead.
Grease Monkey on his scoring pass right now. Only has two defenders out there right now. He picks up 5 points on that pass.
Only one defender left and a star pass.
That was a star stash. The Senator is still the jammer record.
Oh, you're right.
He was trying to get through those light blue jerseys.
Tricked me.
So he took that star off and held it in his hand.
Nothing to see here.
Grease Monkey picking up another grand slam on that pass. Houston Men goes over the 100-point mark.
Grease Monkey with 15 points already here in this jam, and he is just continuing to rack them up. Big O going flying, and looks like Brickhouse is heading to the penalty box. The two captains now in the penalty box. And Grease Monkey grabbing another handful. 20 points so far for Houston here in jam number 6. 26 points. No, 25. The scorekeeper's messing with me.
Senator picks up 4 points on that pass. And while Brickhouse is in the bench, he's going to be thinking about his girls that he coaches, the Cape Fear Roller Girls.
And how he doesn't want them to end up in the
penalty box like he is.
And with that last jam, we talked about previously how what really separated the teams in that first half was about halfway through the first half when Houston started getting those double-digit jams. This, my friends, is the highest scoring jam so far in the game. Grease Monkey with 25 points brings Houston's score up to 128. However, the collision answered with 12 points of their own. So solid offensive effort on their side. I think getting tangled up and having to rely on that star stash definitely killed a fair amount of time. And we've got a timeout on the track, and it is an official timeout, which is brought to us by
the WFTDA Continental Cups, and they will produce the best in the region through a competitive bracket. This first year, the Continental Cup Series will be hosted in Kalamazoo, Michigan, Omaha, Nebraska, and Birmingham in the United Kingdom. For more information, go to WFTDA.com.
So it looks like they were doing the official timeout to adjust the score. Rather than getting 25 points or 24 points, 25 points, Grease Monkey was actually awarded 26, and we are now caught up 130 to 87. We're heading into jam number 7 here in the second half of this game. I'm Scarlett O'Hurtia.
I'm Johnny Pepper.
And we thank you for joining us here for our final game of the evening on track 3 here at Big O. Johnny, who's jamming?
That's JJ Battles wearing the star for Houston. I didn't catch the collision.
Boomerang.
That is Boomerang. Boomerang
Cutting the track.
cutting the track over there on turn 1.
So that
Has
means
to skate all the way back and go to the box. That is a power jam for JJ Battles.
JJ making his way around that track. Pack very spread out at turn 2. No real solid defensive formations just yet. And that's something I'm not really sure I get. Let's wait till the last second and then we'll wall up.
JJ comes into that pack trying to force his way through, looking for a little help. Sniper trying to give it to him.
Oh, that was almost a stay in bounds. Nice spin move on the toe stop.
And that shoves JJ out of bounds. He has to recycle.
0 points so far for either team. Effective penalty kill by collision.
Just like that, the penalty box is empty. Everybody else out on the track.
And Boomerang was then eligible to score points. Didn't make it around in the scoring pass quite. 0 points for either team. Oh, no, looks like JJ
4 points
got 4
awarded
points
on that pass. Sweet Feet going to be the jammer, a record for Houston Roller Derby men's. Walter Cation is going to be jamming for the collision.
134.87, less than 19 minutes left in the half. We're heading into jam number 8.
The Battle of the 42s, take 3.
Action.
Walter Cation trying to get through on the outside, getting knocked out of bounds by Grease Monkey.
Grease Monkey says, I will have none of that, sir. And he gets a little, and again, that follow through.
Sweet Feet almost made it out, but he got knocked to the inside. Walter Cation is awarded lead jam, but Sweet Feet's out of the pack and hot on his wheels.
I will say this, I think Walter, one of his things that is an asset for him is he recognizes when it's okay to take the out as opposed to struggling to stay in bounds and fighting, because that's exactly what happened here. When he was able to go out of bounds because he got knocked out, came back in, got some momentum, made it through that pack quickly while JJ was still doing that standard fast feet
If
relentlessness.
he hadn't have called it off, Sweet Feet might have got a couple of points.
Yeah,
'cause
did I say
Sweet
JJ?
Feet
I meant
wa-
Sweet Feet. Sorry. 2 points for the collision on that last jam, and now we've got JJ Battles going up with the Senator.
Senator getting knocked to the inside, forced to recycle, comes back in, finds a hole on the inside, but he cut the track. He's going to go to the penalty box on that track cut, leaving JJ out there all alone on a power jam.
I was going to say aw, but I don't feel bad when they get a power jam.
JJ Battles knocked to the outside, forced a long recycle back behind Brick House.
Solid tripod by the collision. And here, when we have that independent floater, if they're not contributing, I mean, you have one job right now. Defend. That's it. Shut down the other jammer. This is not a time to have your offensive floater hanging out on the other side of the other team's defensive formation.
They were a little slow to regroup, too.
But now, he gets shoved out of bounds by Brick House, who's living up to his name. And JJ opts to call it off rather than try and run through that again. So 0 points for either team. Oh, just joke. As soon as I'm just going to wait. I give up trying to give early score updates. Looks like Houston took 5 Collision shutout in that one.
Boomerang's going to wear the star for the Collision. Grease Monkey's going to be jamming for Houston men's.
And we have an official timeout on the track, and we can't quite figure out why.
But this timeout's brought to you from Hit This. Derby Gear has everything you need to get rolling, from skates to protective gear and unmatched service for all your derby needs. Before you hit the track, hit this.
Well, we're coming back from the break, and nothing seemed to happen. So maybe the refs just needed a second to breathe.
Boomerang jammer record for the Collision. Grease Monkey going to be wearing the star for Houston men's. Grease Monkey finds a hole on the outside, exploits it. He's up front and getting pointed at. He's your lead jam. Meanwhile, Boomerang finds a hole on the outside. He gets out of the pack, and he's now eligible to score.
I feel like Grease Monkey is a really good utility. Oh, beautiful jump there by Boomerang. Doesn't land it quite in time to catch those points, but really nice hop over. But what I was going to say is Boomerang and Grease Monkey are round about the same size and proportions, but for some reason I feel like Boomerang has a little bit more power in his stride whenever he's making his way around the track, because Grease Monkey had a good lead on him, and then once Boomerang got out of that pack, he caught up in no time.
Real fast. And
he wasn't moving his feet much faster. It's just the amount of power in that push-off. Speaking of power in the push-off, Sweet Feet, your jammer now for Houston.
Walter Cation going to be jamming for the Collision.
42 all. And with some very big, I don't even know what to call that. those jumpy steps.
A march step?
Kinda.
Kind of a march step.
Or like you're leaping, just one.
I'll go with a leap.
Sweet Feet.
Like the Lord's a leaping.
We'll put Sweet Feet in that song. Next holiday season, Scarlett and Johnny's 12 Days of Christmas featuring roller derby.
Sweet Feet on another awesome pass, using those sweet feet to get around the defenders of the Collision. Walter Cation getting knocked to the inside, forced to recycle. Does get through the pack, puts up 4 points on the board. Sweet Feet gets through on his scoring pass, gets 4.
He seemed distracted. The bench was yelling at him to call it off, and he seemed like he was looking somewhere else.
Everybody on the bench was telling him to call it off.
Sometimes you just get in the zone, you know? Do some existential.
You just want to skate.
Existential thinking
It
when
is
you're making that
skate
curve.
team.
It is. 13 points for Houston on that last jam. Collision comes away with 4.
This game brought to you by Jet Lag. Grease Monkey's going to win the star for Houston men.
I just figured it was brought to you by the fact that you can't find a sugar Dr. Pepper.
Okay. I'm not going to give them a shout out until they give me a contract.
Back to the action on the track. We have familiar faces out there, including Grease Monkey, who is now your lead jammer.
And Boomerang
for Houston.
For the Collision right behind him. Both jammers coming in hot against the prospective packs. Boomerang makes it out first. He's the jammer in the lead, but not the lead jammer, and he puts 4 points on the board.
Tricky how that happens. Gotta watch that clock, gotta watch that other jammer. Head on a swivel all the time.
157 to 97, 12:42 left in this game. Slim Skatey's going to wear the star for the Collision. JJ Battles is going to wear the star once again for Houston men's. Houston putting some different blockers in there. Sergeant Psycho and Star are going to help Grease Monkey make that tripod up front.
Grease Monkey just has so much power in those shoulder hits. That's really where he sends people flying. Star with a good detractor, I guess you could say. Just not a passive block by any means, but staying in the way is just as annoying as getting knocked out of bounds.
Absolutely. Whatever works on defense.
And it looks like Boomerang was declared lead jammer, but he got swallowed back up into that pack. So this is still his initial pass. And Grease Monkey going after him, swings and misses. Boomerang now on a scoring. I'm sorry, Slim Skady. I keep calling him Boomerang. Slim Skady now on a scoring pass. Say that 5 times fast.
They were released from the box about the same time. And Slim Skady and Impending Doom had to race back up to the pack.
Oh, Star. Nice jammer push out there.
Slim Skady had enough of that, so he calls it off.
And Collision has passed that century mark, slowly but surely chipping away at that lead. Oh, I put the wrong number down.
Waltercation is going to be the jammer record for the Collision. Sweet Feet, number 42, the jammer record for Houston Men's. This is happening a lot now that you asked for it. Whistle blows. Waltercation goes to the outside. So does Sweet Feet. Sweet Feet finds a hole.
Nice hit there by Sniper, shoving Waltercation to that outside line. Largely without even looking at him.
Sweet Feet stays on those toe stops, emerges from the pack as your lead jammer. Hit or miss gets called for a penalty.
Hey, look,
so does the Big
too.
O. They have a race on to the box. They almost hit each other going to the box.
That's the downside about trying to rush to get to the penalty box so you can start your penalty is, oh no, I think we might have a technical difficulty. Oh no, Sweet Feet's skate seems to be malfunctioning.
And he got called for an illegal procedure because his mouth guard wasn't
Completely
all the way
in his mouth. So he's in the box. That means we have a power jam on our hands.
Waltercation, the jammer record for the Collision. In a power jam situation, all by his lonesome.
This last pass right here, that was a slow and steady wins the race type of thing because he just very quietly, no big frills, waded through that sea of blockers with little to no resistance.
Hit or miss, the pivot for the Collision and the Big O, the pivot
Beautiful.
for Houston Men's, both come out of the box at the same time and join the action.
But it looks like Big O had a big hit on Waltercation on the inside. Sent him reeling for a bit. And Sweet Feet back onto the track.
4 points on that last pass. On another scoring pass at the moment with one to beat up at the front.
I believe that is Matt Daddy who we
has
gotta
to let
be
him
careful.
go. Has to let him go. 5 points on that pass. 9 points already.
But 10 for the Collision. Oh, 14 for the Collision. And we did have a star pass right there at the end.
The captain hit or miss was the jammer record at the end of that jam for the Collision.
We have a team timeout on the track called by the Collision. Who is this timeout brought to us by, Johnny?
The WFTDA. In 2000 skate team, the WFTDA Continental Cups will produce the best in region through a competitive bracket. This first year, the Continental Cup Series will be hosted in Kalamazoo, Michigan, in Omaha, Nebraska, and in Birmingham in the United Kingdom. For more information about these tournaments and all the rest of the WFTDA recognized tournaments, go to WFTDA.com.
We got a very noisy track right next to us. I think we've got some very excited parents. But we're excited to close out the day with such a close game. Collision just making little strides, but they've consistently been moving along, haven't fallen.
They're not going anywhere, and
No,
they're
they're
just
not.
a couple of double-digit jams away from
Absolutely.
tying it up.
14 points for the Collision on that last one, 12 for Houston. And we have an official timeout now on the track. And I'm curious to know, okay, so Johnny, tell me, what are you seeing differently you've seen the Houston team play several times, it's their second game. What are they doing differently in this game than they've done in the previous
Something
ones?
that we talked about when we come back from halftime is penalties. And Houston has not committed that many penalties in this game.
Especially in the second half.
I don't think they have anybody in foul trouble. They might have a couple people with 3, and that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes to show you back home, if you can play a penalty-free game, you'll always be in it.
Absolutely. Can't score points when your point scorer's in the box, and if you're just giving them away, like Oprah, you get a point, and you get a point, and you get a point because you're stuck in the box. Those penalties, man.
May the force be with you out there in TV land.
And I don't know if you guys can hear it. It probably just sounds like background noise, but our in-house announcers have taken to serenading the crowd.
That's our THA.
It's great. Fantastic.
When we get back to the action of the track, Boomerang's going to be the jammer record for the collision.
And that's going to be JJ Battles taking on the star for Houston. And now, didn't you told me something about one of the players for, it was Brickhouse in Cape Fear. We mentioned that already.
Yes, we did. They also wanted to shout out to Raleigh Juniors. They're having a tournament in Nashville.
Yeah. So your I guess adult partner league is thinking of you as you're on the road traveling, and that means a lot to those junior skaters. I've coached juniors for a while, and it means a lot to have the adult skaters.
I can't say it enough. The junior
them.
roller derby are the future of our sport.
And evidence is right here. We've got at least one player on the track who aged up.
Slim skating.
And it looks like we, during that official timeout, we had a jammer head to the penalty box.
So JJ Battle will be the jammer record.
We're going back to an official timeout.
On a power start.
So we got just under 9 minutes left, and we are heading into jam number 15. Score is currently 169 to 116. Houston in the lead. I'm Scarlett Hurt,
I'm Johnny Pepper, and I want to give a shout out to Hit This Derby Gear out of Salem, Oregon. They're derby owned and operated, and they're here.
And they have the best name of a company. It's perfect.
Before you hit the track, hit this.
Mm-hmm. All right, we hear the whistle. Let's get back to the action. This is going to be a power jam start, as we mentioned. And it looks like that star pass that happened at the end of jam number 14, she must have sustained a penalty right there at the end because there was a star pass to the pivot. And so she is now the jammer of record starting in jam number 15, and she being the captain for North Carolina hit or miss.
All the skaters got to turn 2. And then they decided that they didn't want to skate any further, so we're going back and forth over there by turn 2. JJ Battles finally emerges from the pack as your lead jam. Hit or miss out of the box and back into the action. Both jammers hitting the pack about the same time. Collision up front in the pack, Houston in the back.
Nice little double team there. See, okay, now they're adapting. When you grab your partner and you hold on to them, that's how you stop a super agile, jumpy jammer like JJ. God, that's a lot of J's.
Sergeant Psycho and Impending Doom anchoring that defense for Houston in the front.
Trying to hold back Hit or Miss, who is now out of the penalty box and trying to grab some points, close that point spread. And I gotta say, Collision doing a good job right now of holding back JJ.
Skid Mark joining those two, as does Grease Monkey, keeping the jammer for the Collision at bay.
And it looks like the Senator is going to head to the penalty box. So 4-3 pack advantage for Houston at the moment.
JJ Scattenlatterly trying to get away.
But man, that took a while. That was his first scoring pass, and we've got 20 seconds left in the jam.
He takes those 5 points and calls it off.
Those were the hardest fought 5 points I think he's had in the game so far. But hey, solid defensive effort by the Collision, and that's how you turn things around. You frustrate the other jammer, keep your team together when it comes to the defense portion, and when you have a jammer on the track.
Go, Doom.
And we've got some confusion out here about if we're supposed to have Astro Stash or Impending Doom out on the track, but Impending Doom gets the win and is still on the track. Meanwhile, who is jamming, Johnny?
I believe that is 52. That is Boomerang.
And Sweet Feet is your lead jammer for Houston.
Before I could even look up the numbers, Sweet Feet out front getting pointed at. Boomerang with that star in his hand, trying to make through. Gets knocked to the inside. Big O forces him all the way back to turn 1.
So this bridging that Houston has been doing has been really effective at holding back their jammer, where you do that individual. If you're going to do the individual defense, make it so you fold back up like an accordion whenever the jammer approaches. And we've got a star pass. I don't think we've seen him with the star on.
That's Mighty Mouth. That is the first time he's wore the star in this game. Mighty Mouth trying to stay on his feet. He does. Sweet Feet picks up 4 points there.
Mighty Mouth answering with 4 of his own. So Sweet Feet in the lead on this jam specifically, 9-4, but he is the lead jammer, so this will go as long as he says. And his bench is telling him to keep going.
With only 30 seconds left in the jam before it reaches its natural conclusion.
Grease Monkey heads to the penalty box, so Houston now without their pivot. A little bit of, it's interesting to see how much things have slowed down, and you can tell, you have to, this is one of those pace yourselves types of things. You don't want to throw out all your energy at the beginning because it's the end that really counts.
4 points for Mighty Mouth on that last pass. 8 points total in that jam. 12 points for Sweet Feet. They'll
really
add some more just as soon as I say that.
186-124.
420 left in this game.
I mean, weirder things have happened. And in the first half, we had those back-to-back jams. In the course of 2 jams, Houston or let's say this, in the course of 4 jams, Houston in the first half added 40-plus points to their score, and that would make a huge jump here.
Walter Cation, the jammer record for the collision, jumps out front, emerges from the pack as your lead. JJ Battles wearing the star for Houston Men's, still working on his initial pass. Just like that, he gets out and is now eligible to score. Walter Cation picks up 5 points on that pass. Tries to go to the outside, passes one. Gets one.
One.
Gets 1 point and calls it off.
I trust your eyesight better than mine as of late.
As I take my glasses off to read this timeout, because this timeout's brought to you by Hit This. Derby Gear has everything you need to get rolling. From skates to protective gear and unmatched service for all your derby needs. Before you hit the track, hit this. The Big O is brought to you part by the acclaimed Rydell Solaris. The performance you demand and the comfort you've been missing. For more information, go to Rydell.com. Yes. 42.
Thanks. 130-186, just under 3 minutes left. We do have a timeout called. This is the last team timeout for the collision. However, they do still have their official review remaining. Houston using this as an opportunity to regroup as well.
Skaters being called back to the floor. Sweet Feet will be the jammer record for Houston. That is Boomerang wearing the star for the collision.
JK, guys. Gotcha. We got some clock adjustments that need to happen. Oh, that's a pretty significant jump. That adds about 30 seconds to the clock.
32 seconds to be exact. Just because I can do math this late in the evening. Boomerang and Sweet Feet. Sweet Feet for Houston Men's, Boomerang for the collision. The collision out of North Carolina, first in flight. The whistle blows, Sweet Feet goes to the middle, tries to push the pack up.
Did you really just throw a license plate quote
That's their state motto.
It's also on their license plate.
It is. I got a buddy from North Carolina, too.
There you go. All right, no pack is declared. Oh, and we've got the mouth guard again.
If I were the Houston men's coach, I think I'd put a little super glue on them.
Glue it. Get those denture sticky things. Be like, you don't move this.
Gorilla glue might work.
That's 2 penalties in this half alone.
And we were just talking about penalties killing.
Well, this is going to be a golden opportunity for Collision to make up some points just like that. Grabs a grand slam in roughly 30 seconds. Making his way around for another scoring pass. Pack has come to a stop, basically.
I believe Boomerang's had a couple of double-digit jams, has he not?
I think you might be right.
I want to say he's had 2 or 3 double-digit jams.
Yeah, he has.
He's got 10 points so far and 44 seconds left to get some more.
He started this half with a 15-point jam, so yeah, Boomerang's familiar with the double-digit territory.
Collision calling for an official review.
And I bet that's probably going to be for the mouth guard. Oh, no, for Collision, no. Sorry, wrong. So official review, this is the last, and it looks like it's a legit review, not just a, hey, I'm going to burn this as a 60-second timeout. We do have a little less than 2 minutes on the clock for the period. 14 points for Boomerang on that last jam.
I want to remind everybody out there, if you want to talk to us in this last 2 minutes of this game.
Or tomorrow or Sunday.
All day tomorrow and all day Sunday. Use the hashtag #TalkToWFTDA. And we'd be glad to talk to you through that social media thing.
Platform. And you can also use the official Big O hashtag for the weekend, hashtag Big O 2018. Now, as the referees confer, hopefully we will find out here pretty quickly from our head referee, Bruce Almighty, what the challenge was and
if
what
they
the
didn't
result
turn
is.
that mic all the way off.
I'm sure. Hopefully. Never mind. If
I'm
not,
gonna
then we're just
cross
going to
my
make up
fingers.
stuff.
I'm going to cross my fingers and hope that we find out what's going on.
So 144, 186.
When we do get back to the action, it's going to be the battle of the 42s once again.
And oddly enough, there's 42 points between these two teams right now.
Wow.
That's a whole lot of
42s.
Is this some Illuminati stuff that's going on?
I don't know.
42, 42, blue and black,
42.
and the
Black and blue.
scoreboard. Oh my God! Stop! No. We're all getting into conspiracy. It's that time of day. We're getting into conspiracy theories about a number.
I missed my nap today. I'm ready for a big nap.
I love hearing our in-house announcers and how excited they are about everything going on. But here's Bruce Almighty, our head ref, to tell us what that official review is about and what the result was.
Collision was asking for an expulsion on the blue jammer for a second illegal procedure mouth guard violation. While we share their concern for safety, this is not something for which we can expel the skater.
I have to applaud that, actually.
Safety first, safety first, safety first.
So the mic that they have in the center is not actually tied to the broadcast, so we have to, play telephone essentially and communicate this to you guys. So apparently Collision was requesting an expulsion of Sweet Feet, the jammer for Houston, for a second illegal procedure violation for his mouth guard.
They were concerned for his tongue.
Well, the referee said, well, we share your concern for safety. This is not something we can expel someone for. And then 329 from North Carolina, Admiral Packbar goes, it's worth a shot across the track. Great moment.
Sweet Feet comes out of the pack as the lead jammer. Does the leprechaun hop over there in turn 3.
Okay, I'm going to start naming each of his hops. So the leprechaun hop is one. And then literally running in the straightaway, Walter Cation making his way around. Sweet Feet gets past Brick House, who's now being sent to the penalty box for a cutting the track penalty. Waltercation trying to...
You got to mind where those gates come down. They can't come down outside of that circle.
That track awareness is so important.
Sweet Feet picking up another grand slam on that pass.
Total of 9 points on the jam for Sweet Feet thus far. Another star stash for Waltercation. Now, he's on a scoring pass now. Puts the star back on. Gets shoved out of bounds by Grease Monkey. No real surprise there.
Houston goes over the 200-point mark. 14 points so far in this jam.
And we have 30 seconds left on the period clock and the jam clock. They're 1 second apart. The jam clock is 1 second ahead of the period clock. So if Sweet Feet decides to let this one go, oh my goodness, he has taken off the star. So I'm curious to see if he's actually going to execute a star pass. He's the lead jammer. He can call it off anytime.
The Collision are hip to that, so they're taking Grease Monkey out of the equation and not letting that pivot get anywhere close.
That's not easy, though. And the Collision handed off the star to their pivot, but didn't have the helmet cover on his helmet just yet. And there's some very emotional reactions there, but I think that's the game, ladies and gentlemen. It's unofficial right now, but 19 points on that last jam for Houston, 4 for the Collision.
And I believe that's Houston's first win in this tournament.
Not bad. Not bad. 50% so far, and it's only day 1. Lots of derby still remain.
Make sure you tune in at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock Houston time.
And 7 o'clock Eastern time. No, we're doing that backwards. They're ahead. We're behind. So if it's 10 o'clock, Pacific time, it's 12 o'clock Houston.
Absolutely.
And 1 o'clock.
13 o'clock.
That was intentional.
Thank you for joining us on this, the last game of the day, first day of the Big O here in Eugene, Oregon.
We are just getting started, ladies and gentlemen, and it is going to be a fun weekend. Thank you for joining us here this evening. The unofficial final for this game right here, Houston Roughnecks 205 to 148 for the Carolina Collision. Wonderful game here to close out the evening, and a milestone for Houston. So as they go get their high fives, we will say our goodbyes.
I'm Johnny Pepper.
And I'm Scarlett O'Hurt, yeah.
We'll see you tomorrow.